Okay, we're live. Welcome, everyone. My name is Susan Gallagher. I'm the director of the Princess Steps Women's Clinic, and thank you for coming tonight. This is week 9 of the spring 2022 12-week clinic. And first off, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about what the clinic is all about, and thank also your friends who are current. Thank you, friends, for inviting your girlfriends. So a little bit of history. About 25 years ago is when the first clinic happened. And the goal for that clinic was for me to step aside from my own personal training and racing and create an opportunity for women to transition from walking to running, or get a little bit of guidance and prepare to do a 5K or a 10K that was at that time called Global Women's, Avon Running Global Women's Circuit is what it was called. It's kind of a mouthful, Avon Running Global Women's Circuit. And backing up a little bit, the fall prior to 1998, I had heard about this, and I wanted to, and what I had heard is that there were different cities within the United States and also different cities all around the world that were going to host these events. And as part of those events, there were clinics to prepare women to participate in said events. And so I made an assumption that because there was an Avon Running Global Women's Circuit happening in Portland, Oregon, that Portland was having a clinic and that I would tie into that clinic, only to find out that Portland wasn't having a clinic. And by then, Big Cat had already decided, I'm going to do this. And, you know, John can attest to this. When I decide I'm going to do something, watch. And get out of the way. So I contacted Avon to find out, well, how do you do this? And they hooked me up with none other than Catherine Switzer. Catherine Switzer, in 1967, was recognized as the first woman to have completed the Boston Marathon when women weren't supposed to run. So I got to know Catherine. She's become a good friend. And she encouraged me, you know, said, do this, do this, do this. And I said, well, that will work for us, but that's not going to work. That might work, but that's not going to work. So we created our own version of a women's clinic back 25 years ago. And at the time when the race was over with, John and I were at a pub in Salem having a beer with Catherine Switzer and talking about how it went. And something about the conversation was that, well, I'm glad I did that. You know, I'm going to move on now. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, I was just going to do this once, and now I'm going to move on, you know, to other things. And she said, you can't stop. You can't just stop. They need you. You have to do this. And so here we are, fast forward 25 years and 51 clinics later, and here we are. So a lot of the leaders know this story already. No apologies for you having to hear it again. But I'm telling, for some of the people who don't know and for the girlfriends, there is quite an amazing history to this whole Princess Steps. And honestly, it's only been in the last 2, 3, 4 years that we've rebranded it to Princess Steps instead of Women's Beginning Walking and Running Clinic. And there's a whole nother story to that too. But it's truly an honor for me to be a part of thousands of women coming through those doors, being part of this. And for those girlfriends that are thinking about doing this in the fall, it's just an amazing opportunity if it works in your life. It's got to work in your life, though, because maybe you have kids, maybe you have parents, maybe you have a lot on your plate. And the reason why I bring this up is we had 101 women starting this clinic 8 weeks ago, and there's not quite that many here. So there is a normal, natural attrition that occurs, because sometimes we put more on our plate than is realistic. And so I encourage you all, moving forward, think about what your priorities are, because this clinic can provide a lot of guidance, support, camaraderie, girlfriends, new friends. We can do everything we can to support you and give you that opportunity to learn how not to overdo it, learn what it means to have a two injury, too much, too soon, too fast, for those girlfriends that haven't heard about that. But you want it to be meaningful. You want it to be meaningful for you. You want to think about, okay, and even for those people that are current, this, moving forward, because we've got 3 weeks left after this. What are your goals? How are you going to rearrange your life or prioritize exercise on a consistent basis? What is it going to be that's going to help you continue this momentum that you've got going? Okay, so back about what the clinic is all about. We come here for the first half hour, and we have a talk. And the topics are shoes, bra fitting, safety, nutrition. Once in a while, we'll have a special guest speaker, like a cardiologist talking about heart health, or a physical therapist talking about incontinence, which is a very, very common topic, not talked about that much. So sometimes we'll bring in guest speakers, but there are certain foundational topics that we will talk about each clinic. After the talk, then you'll get with your group, and there are three walk-only groups in the fall, but in the spring there are 4 walk-only groups. And then there's always 2 walk-to-run transition groups and 1 run group. And sometimes people contact me ahead of time and say, I'm not sure what group to be in because I'm this and I'm this and I do this and that. I said, well, that's okay, just pick one, because guess what? You can always change. If you look at that board over there, you'll see different colors, and you'll see within each primary group, there's even colors within those colors. That means it's okay to change. And we've done this for 25 years. There's also stars up there. We've been kind of old-fashioned in reference to accountability. And part of that comes from within the group. Early on, I asked people, what did you like about it? And they said accountability. Well, I'm not holding you accountable. Your people are holding you accountable. Your tribe is holding you accountable. And, sometimes people throw that word out there, tribe. It's kind of it must be an in thing right now. But and it reminds me, I'm going off on another little tangent, but years ago, when the clinic started, and some of you people that have been here for a while longer, Alicia, Diane, probably remember this, but I would say, this is not a support group. It's not a like a clinical support group. But guess what? It's better than therapy. That's what people tell me. It's better than therapy. So yes, it is a support group. And it's evolved into this unbelievable thing. A lot of running stores throughout the country have Running 101, or they have something, but I don't think anything's quite as comprehensive as what this is, in terms of a mix of structure, a mix of social, a mix of fun, a mix of support, a mix of education, and the ability to not only improve individually, but take the information that you learn and share it with your family, share it with your friends, share it with coworkers, and that kind of thing. So again, I'm truly honored to be a part of this, and I never thought that I'd be doing it this long, but here we are. So then So after the talk and you get with your group that you've selected, then you go with your group and group leaders, which we always have, and all the group leaders are, as you can see, looking like a team. Thanks to some sponsors, New Balance and Ultras come along, sometimes features. You get with your group and group leaders, and we go over to Riverfront Park for about 45 minutes. The first 3 weeks, we usually stay within the park, and after the third week, we go over either the bridges. And so you're out there together in a group situation, and then in addition, you get homework, which is your suggested guidelines, emailed to you every Monday morning. Also, there's a newsletter that goes out that highlights the topic of the week. That goes out usually Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It depends on when I get to it. But it's good at highlighting, and sometimes there's links in there. Also, what's in there is the video. Thanks to COVID, we did not used to do this. We did not used to go live because I didn't really see a need to, but in March of 2020, after 2 weeks of the clinic, we flipped on a dime and went virtual. So going live now is sort of a leftover from that. And so if you're on Facebook, we have a Facebook group that also helps with accountability, support, inspiration. But if you're not on Facebook, that's okay, because you can still see the talk on YouTube, because all the talks are on YouTube right now, even open to the public. I don't advertise it, but they're up there. So let's see, what else is there about the clinic that you might want to know? I'm accessible via email, via phone, in person most of the time. So if there's a question, you can always come and ask me. Thank you. There's a discount. So a perk. Another perk, you can see we have apparel, shoes, accessories. Throughout the duration of the 12-week clinic, participants and leaders, of course, get 10% off on stuff throughout the clinic. So that's a little perk. Another thing, if you participate in 9 or more out of you're here putting your star up, 9 or more out of the 12 weeks, you get a $10 coupon at the end. So thanks, Debbie. Leaders, anything I'm missing? Any questions from the girlfriends about the clinic? Gave you some history. I gave you some what it's about.
When does the next clinic start?
When does the next clinic start? The first Tuesday in August. It's either the first Tuesday in August or the last Tuesday in July, depending on the calendar lands. Okay. It's always started the first Tuesday in March. So we have a spring clinic, March, April, May, every Tuesday night. Then we take a break, and then we start up a brand new clinic at the beginning of August and go August, September, October. And registration will go live for the fall clinic or the August clinic about the time this current clinic ends. So, and that is the final night of this clinic is May 17th. So by May 17th, if not a week before that, registration will go live for the fall clinic. You don't have to sign up right away, but you can. But that's when registration goes live. Any other questions?
Do you cap the number of participants?
In the spring, sometimes we sell out. In the fall, we've never sold out. And I think that's because it's usually hotter and some people just don't tolerate the heat so well. That's my guess, because it's been historically lower sign-ups in the fall versus the spring. So we don't usually sell out. We came close to it one time. I did close registration in the spring. I have over 25 years and 50 plus clinics. I have closed registration a couple times. Yeah. It amazes me how many people keep coming, because it's not like we put it out on billboards or anything. It's pretty much word of mouth. Any other questions? Those are great questions. Okay, well, you can always ask me or interrupt me. It's fine. This is for you. I'm going to shift gears a little bit now and talk about event prep preparation. And I'm going to cut to the chase in reference to Princess Steps 5K, the virtual Princess Steps 5K, 10K half marathon, and kind of flip back to what I had said, how we got started. Avon Running Global Women's Circuit was a 5K, 10K all over, like cities within the United States, other countries in the world. There's something about signing up for and participating in an event. It inspires you to get in shape. It's fun to celebrate your fitness. And through this whole time from 1998 when we started up until March of 2020 when COVID happened, we always had a focus event. The focus event is at the end of the clinic, near the end of the clinic, like either after week 10 or week 11 or week 12. And early on, there was something up in Portland. And then in the fall, that was spring. And then in the fall, there was the Susan B. Komen breast cancer 5K.
Race for the Cure.
Yeah, thanks, that. Race for the Cure. We did a lot of Race for the Cures. And then John and I started doing, we were doing races down here, and I thought, darn it, I'm tired of going all the way up to Portland when we could support a local nonprofit right here in our own community. So then it became extremely important to me to have the focus event here in Salem. And there was always something available. For a while, it was the Kaiser Iris Festival in the spring. That was one. A lot of you might remember that. How many people remember that one? A lot, yeah. And then in the fall, there was Domestic Violence Awareness 5K, 10K that then became Steps to Safety, which I got that, helped them get that race started. And that was all, those two were always perfect timing for being our focus events for the clinics, like graduation for Princess Steps. It's like celebrate your achievements, share, share everything that you've accomplished and that kind of stuff. It was always really important. And, maybe that's just because, I did a lot of racing, and part of helping women get into walking or running, part of it is so that they can participate in an event, whether you call it a race or what, but to participate in an event. It's always been kind of integral. And so when all the events got canceled in 2020, it didn't even really come back much in 2021, I didn't want to let go of that tradition. I really didn't want to let go of that tradition. A lot of the leaders know I kind of, it's like having homemade buttermilk pancakes growing up on the farm in Nebraska. It's tradition, So I created a virtual Princess Steps 5K, 10K half. And guess what? That's still happening. This spring on May 14th or 15th. And it's open to the public, and it's free. And I was hoping we could get back to an in-person actual event, but there's not one yet in Salem at that time. There's a 10K at the end of May, but not a 5K. And it's really, really important to have a 5K, especially for beginners who haven't really done events before. And so we're still going to have it. And let me tell you, I'm kind of surprised, and I'm encouraged because the leaders encouraged me. Yeah, have it. It was really cool. It was really fun. And so that's why when you read, those of you that are in the current clinic, you read, like I put in the week 9 update, celebrate your achievements, be inspired to stay consistent, reward your improvement, get a fitness benchmark, registration is free. So, and talk with your people in your group, and I know some of you have already done it. Wear the bright pink, wear the bright purple, figure out when you're going to start Saturday, or, like 8 o'clock in the morning Saturday, and be out there and do it together, so it feels like an event. And it really does. It really does. And take pictures and send them to me. And there will be a couple raffles on the 12th night, the celebration night. but there's some hooks. If you have to register, for the event and post your results to be eligible for the prizes, and they do include shoes. So just a little incentive there, and some other miscellaneous things. So event preparation, I'm going to tell you what the route is for the 5K. And that you want to, like, all the guidelines for the to finish walkers, time goal walkers, 5K people, panthers, cheetahs, bobcats. There are guidelines in your update from this last week, and a lot more information in there about event prep. And I said, read this with a grain of salt, because I didn't totally edit it for virtual. It was written with the intention of going to an in-person race that has sights and sounds and smells and porta potties and mile markers and all that stuff. So I'm leaving it in there because I hope, sincerely, that those in-person races will come back. And I hope that, honestly, we don't have to do virtual Princess Steps, that there will be a local community event at the right time that we can get back into. I think that's really important, and also an opportunity to support a local event, because most of them have a nonprofit benefactor.
You know what, you didn't mention the High Street Hustle, which was my favorite.
Yeah, that's another story. High Street Hustle.
Oh,
I'm not going to talk about it right now because it was in honor of my mom, and she died from heart disease. So we'll save that for another story. I promise. Where was I? Help me out. I lost my train of thought.
You hope there's going to be a local event by a nonprofit.
Right. I was getting to the route. So here's the route. We start at the pony by the carousel. By now, is there anybody here who doesn't know about that pony? We should name that pony.
Princess.
Obviously.
There we go.
Okay. Starts at the pony. And you go north on the sidewalk, past the Rotary Pavilion, through the parking lot, and the fences on your right, and you go behind the A.C. Gilbert Discovery Village. So you're back behind it. And you go all the way to Union Street. So you're going through that parking lot also, that there's a power station to your left. You go all the way to Union Street. And you take a left. Okay, you with me? Because guess what? I'm going to have you do it tonight. Every single group's going to do this. All right? Now, I will say, I know the Bobcats can do the whole 5K, and I know the Cheetahs probably can. And the other groups, you're going to do as much of it as you can. If you get back into the park and you don't have time left based on what's your homework today, you'll still just do what's on the homework, but you'll do most of it, and you will for sure be familiar with the first couple of miles, what that is. And I think that is really, really important to have an idea what your course is, so that when you get there on race day, you know what to expect and you can pace yourself a little bit better. So when you get to Union Street, you're going to take a left. And by the way, these instructions or these directions are posted in black and white on the event page. The event being the virtual Princess Steps 5K, 10K, half marathon. So you take a left and you go it's almost like you're going to go across the Union Street Railroad Bridge, but you don't. You take a left and you're back on the sidewalk, paralleling the Willamette River, and now you're heading south towards the acid ball / Eco Earth. For those of you that know the history, it really is an acid ball from the lumber time. So you're going to go then all the way around that acid ball, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in there because on the 5K and the 10K, one of them is around the acid ball on the way out, and one of them is not around it on the way back, but it's on there. Probably doesn't really matter as long as you go around the acid ball either on your way out or on your way back, because it's really the same distance. So anyway, So you go around the acid ball and you get up on the Minto Bridge. I call it the Minto Bridge, respectfully, because you go into Minto. That's why I call it the Minto Bridge. Okay, is there anybody here that, you've all crossed the Minto Bridge, right? Even the girlfriends probably. So then you go all the way out to where you go past the grove of trees, and then you're going like you're going to head towards the dog park, but you come to a kiosk and you come to a fork in the path. If you take the right fork, it takes you directly to the river. If you go straight and take the left, you go to the dog park. So also there's a couple porta potties and there's a bench. What's the name of that bench?
Gallagher.
The Gallagher bench. I placed it there strategically. Because they asked me where I wanted it. I want it right there. I didn't actually, at the time, I didn't know there were going to be porta potties there, but that's okay. So you go around that kiosk and you head back to where you came from. You go back over the Minto Bridge, and if you've already gone around the acid ball, then when you come back, you don't have to go around it again. You just come off of it and you veer to the left and you go toward the old amphitheater, not the new one, the old amphitheater. And then now you're headed towards the Tom McCall statue. You with me on that? Okay, but you don't go all the way to the Tom McCall statue. If you're doing the 5K, you take a right at the splash pad / water feature where the rings are. You take a right there, and now you're going towards like where you're going to head right to Court Street, but then right before the road, you take a right and you head back to the Pony. And when you get to the Pony, you have practically almost exactly a 5K. I know, because I do it every Monday night for Monday Run Day. Every Monday night. It's right at a 5K. And if you, have one of those pace distance monitors and it's not right at 3.1 miles, then you can go ahead and go a little bit more so you get that 3.1, because that's a 5K, 3.1 miles. And then you can cheer and take a post-race picture, and even by the Pony, because Alicia's going to have balloons, pink and purple, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, balloons by the Pony, and then celebrate. And then post your picture on the Facebook or send it to me, and I'll post it for you. And when I see your results, posted on the event page, I will personally enter you into the drawing. So you don't have to worry about that. All I need to do is see your results, and I need to see your results before midnight on Sunday night. So remember, because last year some people forgot. They forgot to post their results, or they forgot to register. So you have to register and post your results. Enough of that. Let's see. Some other basic things about event prep, and I'm going to wrap this up because I have about a minute. And I hesitate because this was all written pre-COVID. But like, you're going to an event, like whether you're driving there because you live 2 miles out of away, or maybe it is in Silverton or Mount Angel or Dallas or Lebanon or whatever. You don't know for sure what the weather's going to be like, so you want to take extra shoes, maybe a towel. This time of year, you don't know how the weather could just up and change, so you have to take extra things so that on your drive home, you're more comfortable. You want to get out of that wet sports bra, out of that wet stuff, get in something dry to take care of yourself so you don't get chilled. Maybe have some snacks if you tend to get hypoglycemic, because a lot of the races have food, but even the races that have come back, some of them haven't had as much food because of the whole COVID thing. And or maybe you want to go with your friends out to a local establishment afterwards and have coffee, but you still want to be comfortable, and you might, you're going to work up a sweat when you're out there. That's what it's all about. It cleans where the shower doesn't get, right? Sweat. Yeah, another one. Anyway, there's stuff on here where I hesitate. Is the bib number? You don't have to worry about a bib number. You don't have to worry about chip timing, any of that kind of thing in the virtual, because it's you're determining what time you start. But again, it's a lot more fun if you do it with a bunch of people. So that's about the event. And also, for those of you doing the 10K, I know most people that have signed up already are 5, but some people are doing the 10. That route is also posted there, and it goes out toward the river and over to I call it the gazebo, which is like the third parking lot at Minto, and then to the dog park, and then it comes back. But it's a really nice, and then when you come back, and you do go past the Tom McCall statue all the way back to Union Street, take a right, and then come back in, and you got a nice, really nice 10K, as opposed to doing 2 loops of the 5K, which is an option too. Yeah. So, and there's a couple people doing half marathons, but they're doing their half marathon at the Willamette Valley half marathon, which is May 29th. Yeah. That's all I got.
Wait, quick question. The third parking lot, isn't that where the Bald Eagle is? Because isn't that closed off? Right?
No,
I wouldn't do a route if it was closed off.
no, it's if you take the path towards the river.
The question we had to
the
do with the
other-
Bald
the
Eagle.
other
Yeah, don't worry. The Bald Eagle
Got it.
is safe, I promise.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, unless something changes between now and May 14th or 15th.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Got
And
it.
if any of those routes were closed, then you could do the 5K twice.
Okay.
To make up for the 10K. Yeah.
For me.
Okay, so what I encourage, and so I'm signing off. Next week is nutrition, and have a great week.